so that we have this available for people who aren't able to join us tonight. But welcome to our CV and resume building workshop. This is actually part of our mentor-mentee workshop series. And it is a complementary workshop to help mentors and mentee navigate the process of the mentorship program. The theme for October is CV and resume building. So we have invited one of the people who is really active in NAFSA to help us make our CV and resume really built for the applications that we are planning to submit anytime soon. Just as what I have announced earlier for people, please feel free to drop in your CV or resume in this Google Drive folder. Cindy will be putting them in the chat again for people who just came in. But be prepared to review other people's CV or resume and also have yours reviewed by others at the end of this workshop. So here's our agenda for today. We would like to invite everyone to introduce themselves in the chat. Just please put your name, pronouns, affiliation, the state or the country where you're calling from. Please indicate if you're a mentee, a mentor, or both, so that we could look at the breakout rooms and pair you with the right individuals. And lastly, if you are interested to share, what are activities that you're looking forward to this fall season, which is really interesting. And then we'll do some introduction about AFSA, and then we'll head into the CV and resume building. So to start with our land acknowledgement, you're just gonna spend a minute to read this statement from AFSA. We are here to pay respect to the Indigenous people of the past, present, and future, to the Lenape Nation of Manhattan and beyond, where AFSA started its history, and the many different Indigenous peoples of our homeland, the Philippines. As residents of the U.S., we recognize our participation in this conflicted history, and we want to acknowledge that Indigenous lands and waters are not bounded by colonial political lines. As Filipinos, we reflect on the intersection of our identities as a byproduct of colonization. The complex role of our history has led us to be an amalgamation of complicit bystanders, allies, and even colonizers. As scientists, we acknowledge and honor the place-based knowledge of Indigenous peoples and their ancestral and contemporary stewardship of our homelands. We will continue to learn, gain a better understanding of the different cultures, and do our best to improve as allies. And that is very timely with Indigenous Peoples Day that we celebrated yesterday. Next, we are, just to reintroduce AFSA to everyone, if you haven't seen our mission and vision, AFSA is a community of Filipinx scientists in America seeking to utilize our collective expertise and resources to support our communities in the Philippines and the US. We have around 200 members signed up for AFSA in different stages of our scientific careers from various states in the US. This is not very representative of all those states, but you see how we are scattered as members. What we do, it's very diverse and it varies. There are people working on agriculture, biology, public health, engineering, science policy, neuroscience, computer science, chemistry, and even social sciences. So we have people in psychology, social work, who are part of our membership. We do a lot from these objectives, but one of the objectives that we are meeting in tonight's workshop is one, to unite, empower research and innovation that strengthens and uplifts lives of Filipinos, and to really expand the network of Filipino scientists in the US. And that's where our mentor-mentee program is rooted in. And the rest are on social awareness, really making or educating our community and also educating ourselves of what the issues of our communities are. So this is our executive committee for the year of 2022. We will be having elections in the next few months. So if you're interested to join us as part of the executive committee to really help with the programming of the organization. We will have some of the announcements in the near future. So this is part of the advocacy committee's help or contribution to the mentor-mentee workshop. So in most of our workshops, we actually tasked, or we asked different committees in our organization to help make the programs or help facilitate the workshops for our mentor-mentee. So this is one workshop headed by the advocacy committee. So advocacy committee does a lot of things to promote different sciences, to look at the intersections of different people's research, but also to take a stand and take actions in different issues and discuss different trends to educate our members. So we have upcoming events that we will also be announcing later on, but our anniversary event is coming up. Please put this in your calendar. That would be on October 22, Saturday from 7 to 9:30 p.m. And yes, as I mentioned, elections and other stuff. So yeah, as we move on, we'll have our CV and resume building workshop to be headed by an Arctic observing fellow of the Global Ocean Monitoring and Observing NOAA, Cynthia Garcia Idel, who is also the co-chair of our advocacy committee. Cynthia, you can take the workshop.
All right. Well, thanks, Kalai. Hi, everyone. So before I introduce myself, since this is a fairly small group, I'd encourage everyone to also introduce themselves, not just in the chat, but verbally. So we're all acquainted, and also this is a nice working workshop, right? That we are all actively participating. So I can start. So my name is Cindy. I'm an Arctic Observing Fellow, like what Kalai said. I'm part of the Canals Marine Policy Fellowship, and I'm supporting the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the Arctic Research Program. So I've been to the Arctic on icebreakers. I do field work in the Arctic. I ride C-19 planes, and as well as observe changes in the Arctic from satellites. I used to work at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center, processing microwave measurements from space, looking at sea surface salinity data. And I did my PhD from University of Illinois, Chicago. So that's me. Oh, I was born and raised in the Philippines. I did my bachelor's in biology from University of the Philippines, and then moved to South Korea for my master's in engineering, environmental engineering. And really passionate about diversity, equity, inclusion, and also making sure that we were creating an inclusive space in the STEM field, whether it's research or in STEM education. And that's me in a nutshell. And I'll just say your name, and please feel free to unmute yourself to share also your name and then where you're calling from and a little background and why you're joining us today. I'll start with Ariana.
Hi, I'm Ariana. I go by she, her pronouns. I'm calling from Storrs, Connecticut. I'm a grad student at the University of Connecticut right now, where I'm in a master's program studying land use legacies and stream ecosystems. So I look at agriculture to forest land use change, and I'm looking to see if that has any impacts at all on stream ecosystems. Other background, I don't know, I'm from Seattle, Washington. I've studied freshwater for a while now, and yeah.
Nice. Thanks, Ariana. Next, Patricia, please.
Hi, everyone. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys can hear me. Sometimes.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. I am Patricia. I'm calling from Ecuador, although I was born in the US in Pennsylvania. I'm a biologist. And a little bit about myself. I have worked extensively in a project related to humpback whales here in the Eastern Pacific, and I will be applying to different programs in the US. So that's why I'm joining this workshop tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, you were kind of breaking up on the last part, but I heard that you're planning to apply for grad programs in the US.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. Next, Joshua.
Hi there, I'm Joshua. I'm a first year PhD student at Graduate Center of CUNY. I'm doing a PhD in computational biology, where I focus on precision drug design using machine learning. So basically, I try to take some like sequencing data, like whatever our genes are producing in like our bodies or like sample cells, and I try to get out what might happen if you use a drug on that.
Fantastic. Thanks, Joshua. Asta?
Hello, my name's Asta. My pronouns are she, her. I'm calling from New York City. I'm an undergrad at CUNY Hunter College studying biochemistry and public health. Short background, I guess. I was born in the Philippines, grew up in New York City, and yeah, I'm Asta's publicity committee chair. Yeah.
Thanks, Asta. All right. Next, Ralph, please.
Hello everyone, good evening. I am Ralph. I'm currently finishing my Master's of Science in Global Health at Georgetown University. A little bit of background about me. I was born and raised in the Philippines, took my undergrad in Ateneo de Manila University of Biology, and then did my medical degree in Cebu. And then right after, I did a year of internship before coming here to Georgetown. But I'm currently here in Ghana, doing my master's thesis on financial risk protection. So that's it. Thank you.
That's exciting. Thanks for sharing that, Ralph. All right. Next is Diego.
Hello, I'm Diego. I'm from Ecuador. I'm postbac at Yale University. I'm working in neuroscience and bioinformatics. And sorry, I think I have a bit of noise outside. I will apply to the grad school. I'm working in neuroscience, and I have experience in evolutionary biology in Ecuador and my country.
Nice. Thanks, Diego. Next, Leah, please.
Hey everyone, I'm Leah Mufasigi. I'm calling from Oregon right now. I'm generally based in DC for my job. I'm a marine and freshwater ecologist by training. I got my PhD from Oregon State in 2019, and I've been working in environmental policy since then. I've done a lot of different stuff, but right now I'm working in plastics policy. And actually, the thing that brought me to DC is the same program that Cindy is in. So I was also a Knaus Fellow in 2020. Yep, good to see everyone. And Cindy, it's good to see you.
Good to see you, Leah. Nice. Thanks for sharing that. And then I think our last one is David.
Hi everyone, so I'm David. I did my undergrad from De La Salle University, biochemistry, and I'm currently in Europe, in Italy, doing computational biochemistry and quantum chemistry. And I am currently working in disease inhibitions and EPFL. So yeah, in Switzerland. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Thank you, David. And thanks everyone for sharing all your backgrounds, where you're calling from. This is a really exciting group of people, and exciting and impressive group of people. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. And hopefully for our breakout session later, we know who the people are and what they do, at least the backgrounds. And also will help collide with the breakout rooms later. All right, so next slide, please. So for this workshop, so this is a workshop, this is not a seminar. So we're expecting everyone to do some work and have some output, and which is an updated resume with the help of your mentors or the people who are here who already has experience in applying and knowing what the industry or the different sectors need. So please practice being present. So silent alerts on your phone or computer, remove other potential distractions. I know it's easy during this time, and participate and ask questions using the chat. All right, next slide, please. So quick poll here. In the chat, please indicate the number on what you're interested in applying to. Is it grad school application? Put 1. Postdoc application, internship or fellowship, federal with a USA Jobs, private industry, nonprofit, or even number 6 for not currently interested in polishing your CV or resume for anything yet. Nice. Okay. Nice. 7, 6. Okay. Yep. Nice. All right. What a really good mix. So we know most are wanting to apply for grad school, some for postdoc and internship and fellowships. Nothing for, okay, there's 1 federal or a private industry nonprofit. And nice. 7, can I have number 7 for other? Okay, Asta. Yes, 7 applies as well. All right, thanks for participating on that poll. Next slide, please. Okay, this is an agenda within an agenda. So this is the flow of our talk. We're gonna discuss the trends in hiring and job search process. You're also gonna learn the processes used in various sectors, how to effectively describe and quantify your skills and experience. Then we'll talk about the do's and don'ts. So for the content and format approaches, I will also provide, actually I already provided it in the Google Drive folder that we've been sharing. There is a template there for a resume. It's a 1-page template, so feel free to use that. And then we're also adding some bonus slides for cover letter basics, because cover letters are super important. And then we're gonna do our breakout session. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so trends in hiring. Caveat here, I'm not, as you know, I'm not HR expert. So, but these are from Indeed.com, that there is chronic understaffing at the moment. There's also a trend of hurry up and wait. So companies are trying to get as much talent as they can, but then people are sometimes waiting because of clearances, etc. There is a huge demand for technology and automation, as well as with unconventional process for interview, especially with the hybrid nature of work at the moment. Next slide, you will see the different trends in different common processes by sector. So you have here a summary of whether it's government, corporate, nonprofit, or academic, whether they're using automation in their application review. Government sometimes, corporate almost always, and then nonprofit and academic, most of the time they use automation in their application review. Government typically requires special information in the resume. That could include the number of hours of work that you dedicated for each of the position, etc. I'll tell you more about it later. Also, all of the sectors typically require a screening interview as well as an in-depth interview. And then in terms of presentations, it's typical for academic positions to require the applicant to have a presentation or a work assignment. Next slide. And in terms of describing your skills and experiences, here is a typical formula. So you would describe your general, you will have your general statement and then describe the details or give a specific detail on what you did, and then numbers wherever possible. Again, a general statement, a specific detail, plus the numbers wherever possible. And here are some examples in the next slide. So for example, for a project management position, you can describe it this way, like it's managed a 4-person team responsible for researching and writing a report on the environmental impact of ocean plastics versus, please, next slide. Lead the day-to-day operations of a 4-person team responsible for researching and writing report on environmental impact of ocean plastics, develop project scope, strategy, and priorities, establish processes, timelines to complete tasks, track milestones, etc. So you can describe it that way for a program management position. And I'll give you another example on the next slide, and you can just read it. So for legislative assistance, next slide, please, Kalai. And here is potentially how you can describe it. And we'll share the slides with you following the formula that I just shared earlier. Next slide. All right, now let's talk about the application tracking systems. Please use the reactions, raise your hand if you know anything about the ATS. If you don't, you can just use other icons or reactions. No. Okay, so the application tracking system is used by over 90% of organizations outside the public sector. Basically, this is what HR employees use to filter candidates. On the next slide, you would learn that the #1 reason you're not getting called for interviews is because a software program cannot tell you if you are qualified. And there are definitely skills on what you can do for the software to know that you are indeed qualified, because on the next slide, 80% of the applicants that are filtered out by ATS actually meet the required job applications. Next slide. Okay, so let's stop here and do an exercise. And I'll share with you in terms of resume, this resume, I'll put the link in the chat. So raise your hand and share with me what you can say about this resume, whether you like it or not, and what you like about it or what do you not like about it. Okay, Joshua, thanks.
I kind of like that. It's eye-catching. I like that the education and favorites are condensed on the side, and the words are very visible and easy to see in person. I don't think we need the University of Washington address in the side. I think the pictures and the font choice would make it very difficult for any tracking or for visually seeing most of the central text.
Nice. Those are really good comments and thoughts on this resume. Other suggestions, other thoughts on this resume. Will you hire this person? High risk, high reward. Yes, Carlo. Other comments on this resume? Okay. Yes, Leah, please.
I think it's really fun and eye-catching, and maybe it just depends on the job that you're applying to. But if you compare this resume to the examples that you showed, like there is one sentence of like what they did in each of these like little paragraphs, but it doesn't fully dive into like the full range of like roles or responsibilities that they did.
Nice. Thank you. Yeah, Asta, you shared a comment in the chat.
Yes, I just found it pretty interesting that, like, normally, or at least I feel like most commonly I see resumes where experience is listed as like what your position was and like the organization it was a part of, or company, and then there's like bullet points underneath. But in this one, it's more like a third person narrative of where they worked and what they did there, which is pretty unique, I think.
Yes, indeed. And yes, this person got the job. So I guess his way of storytelling, his resume worked. So yes, I agree, Leah, that yes, it definitely depends on what you're applying, the job that you're applying to, and how you tell your story and how you share your impact, and not just what you did, but as well as your impact. All right, thank you for those who participated there. And next slide, please. All right. For this, now I'm going to share some of the basics for a resume. For a resume, you need obviously your name and contact information at the top. Email should be professional. So maybe think about using a new email if you're still stuck with your email addresses in high school. So think about professional email addresses, typically with your name, 1 page maximum. It should be catered to a specific job. It should be sent as a PDF to maintain formatting. It should summarize your achievements and how it impacted the company or your field of work. And also it should be well formatted, sections are aligned, consistent styles, no colors and or unnecessary elements, no poor spelling and grammar, no personal details like your photo, your birth date, social media account, marital status, and children. Well, I guess the social media account, I guess it depends on what you're applying to, the position that you're applying for. Like if it's a social media director, you definitely have to share your social media account. And then lastly, bullets is preferred rather than large blocks of text. So those are some of the basics for resume. On the next slide. Okay, some of the do's and don'ts, kind of similar to what I shared earlier in the previous slide. So you will use plain text wherever possible. Traditional fonts are preferred. You also should limit the use of headers and footers. Also use simple lines to divide sections. Actually, it depends. And then save files as .doc.docx or PDF. Standard resume section headers should be used, for example, professional experience, your technical skills or education or professional preparation, etc. Also be consistent in your formatting for work history, locations, titles, and dates. Please do not include embedded images, graphics, or charts, although that other person did. Also, don't use tables or sidebars. Don't get creative with section names like where I've been or what I know. All right, so those are some do's and don'ts. And before we move to the next one, are there any questions there? Okay, that's 6 seconds, so we can move on. On the next slide, for your resume, please think Twitter feed and not journal article. So HR spent 6 seconds looking at the resume before deciding whether the interview should proceed. And then also use strategic formatting to make the most of those 6 seconds. And also keywords are displayed in multiple ways. And yeah, maybe you can highlight those keywords or by putting them in bold text or highlighting those keywords. Next slide. Okay, this is that keyword-driven resume. So this is an example of some of the bullets for a specific position, for a project management position. And you can edit it this way on the next slide, where you include, Carla, on the next slide, please. Yeah, so you will include those keywords that typically the ATS would look for. So project management or business process improvement or partnership development, quality assurance, internal coordination, or strategic recommendations. So typically it's nice if you add those keywords next to the description of what you did or specific task. And yeah, all right, next. So the main difference between the resume and a CV is that CVs can be longer, and typically CVs include your publication, your selected presentations, your education and other credentials, and other skills and technical experiences, that research experience that you had that would make you the best candidate for the position. All right, so that's a main difference between resume and CVs. All right, and that's basically for those are the tips and the basic formula that you can use for your resume and CVs. And now we go to the cover letter, the tips for cover letter. So cover letters are super important because sometimes employers just read your cover letter before they dive into your resume or your CV. So the typical format for that, you have a header, maybe 3 to 4 paragraphs, and then a proper sign off. Next. So for cover letter, you can include a proper header and sign off. The header should include your contact information of the receiver, so their name, position, company, office, and their address. Do not use to whom it may concern. Next, sign off should contain all of your relevant information. So your name, your undergrad, college name and majors, phone number, and email address. For the body, so it should not be to whom it may concern, right? And then your body should have at least this this structure for the different paragraphs. So for the first paragraph, you can state who you are and what position you're applying for. Second paragraph, why you're perfect for the company or organization. List the responsibilities of the position and how you meet those needs. Do not just repeat your resume. For paragraph 3, you can add why the company is perfect for you. So again, paragraph 2 is why you're perfect for that organization. Paragraph 3 is why the company is perfect for you. So describe what you're hoping to gain from this experience. And lastly, be confident in the last paragraph. Don't say, I think I will be a good fit. It should be, I am a good fit. Or I see this role, I see this role to be the perfect position for me where I can be successful and thrive in, or something like that. All right. And I also provided an example here of that template. So you will describe who you are, why is the company perfect for you, how am I perfect for the job, and then a nice ending there, which include your how they can reach you, and reiteration of your interest. All right, so that's a cover letter. And also the basics for resume and CV. And before we go to the breakout session, are there any questions? No questions? Great. All right, so now we go to the breakout session. So we will create, Kalai will create, or is currently creating the breakout rooms. So we have how many? 12 participants. Please share your resume or CV through the Google Drive folder that we are sharing. And again, we will share in the chat. We'll share the link again in the chat. And then in the breakout sessions, here's the mechanics of how the discussions should proceed. So you will introduce yourself, your name and what your goals are. What are your current challenges? And also, please point everyone to your file name. So your resume or CV file name. Make sure everyone in your group has access to your resume or CV. Assign among yourselves who will review your resume or CV, preferably mentors reviewing the CV or resume of mentees. Quickly skim or scan for 5 minutes and then take note of your general comments. And then you will spend a couple of minutes as a group to share notes and comments on each other's resume or CV. For your comments, please be concise, use constructive, supportive, and positive words. And Kalai, do you have any other housekeeping guidelines there before we have people join their breakout rooms?
I guess it's all good. I already set up the breakout rooms.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right, any questions from the group before we send you to your breakout rooms? Oh, yes, sure. Here you go, Irwin. So that, thank you, everyone who already dropped their CVs and their resumes in the Google folder. And all right, Kalai, please open up the rooms.
The rooms now.
Thank you.
I don't think people can screen share, so just I'm just gonna resume recording. Cool. Cindy?
I was muted. Oh my God. You think by now we should be used to that. But all right. Well, thanks again, everyone. And I hope that was a productive working session, breakout session for all of you. And now we're in, you can ask any questions. And I hope your mentors or your peers were able to help you polish or answer some of your questions as well. But if there are any other lingering questions, yeah, now is the time. Yes, Asta.
Hi. So I just had like a general question because I was working on my resume yesterday actually, and I noticed that I wasn't really sure how to do like something in terms of organization with my resume. So I was just wondering, like, for instance, if you held like multiple positions within the same organization, like what do you do with that? Do you like put all of them on some way, or do you just put your most recent or your most relevant position? Or yeah, because as of right now, I guess you're free to look at my resume. So if it's like if you're looking at like AFSA or the Philippine American Organization part of my resume, I just have like 3 or 4 different positions there. I'm not sure if all of that should be there or like, yeah. So I was just wondering about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that, okay, your Philippine American organization, you held multiple positions.
Yeah.
Got it. How do you, it depends on what you're applying for, I would say. But if it's relevant to say that you started for a position, you started in this position and then you got promoted, and then you're showing your movement, vertical movement to the company, I would say yes, you should include the different positions that shows that you grow and you're being promoted. For this one, this is an organization and you held multiple positions. Maybe I would just add the most recent position that you have. And then you can just include the details of you started with as this and that, and then now you're this in the organization. Does that help?
Yeah. I was curious because like in my opinion, it looks a little like crowded, and I wasn't sure if I should do something about it, if you know what I mean.
Got it. Yeah. For me, for organizations in my CV, I just listed my latest or current position. If that helps.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. Any other questions?
Oh, I have a comment with Afsa's question. I asked this question, not Afsa. But I guess like in LinkedIn, I don't know, it's like in the CV wise, but in LinkedIn, they have like list of organizations that you're involved in, and you could put like all the positions you took, and they will put it in a timeline with like same organization and timeline. So I guess that's kind of a helpful way to do it. I don't know if you could follow it through your CV.
Oh yeah, right. That's also something David suggested to me, like putting my LinkedIn in so that it's just more detailed. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? All right. Well, again, thank you, everyone. We'll be sharing the slides for the presentation today, as well as the resume template, which it's already in the Google Drive folder that we shared. So feel free to download that one. And also feel free to download any of our CVs if you want a template of our CVs or our resume. So thanks, everyone. And I'll pass it over to Kalai.
Yeah, so just a quick announcement. AFSA will be celebrating its 3rd year anniversary on October 22, Saturday at 7 p.m. So feel free to join us. We would love for y'all to be there and celebrate with us and look back with the 3 years that we have been established as an organization. And we have an anniversary committee meetings if you're interested to help with the preparations for that at 7 p.m. EDT every Friday. So we usually send the links to that meeting via email. And some opportunities to get involved. You could help us draft our newsletters and also organize files and mailing lists, and also help us design graphics for our future events. So feel free to email us at afsa.official@gmail.com. And yes, if you're interested as well to help us with the elections, we are looking for individuals who are interested to help with handling the nominations and also the voting and elections. If you're not interested to be in the executive committee, but you still want to help out with the elections itself, you could register and help us through this link tree. Link tr.ee-afsa.official. And yeah, and lastly, there was a typhoon that hit the Philippines a few weeks ago. If you're interested to donate, and we have encouraged you to donate, these are some details. You could get a screenshot of this so that you could find the details and how you could help. And some QR codes. If you're interested to sign up to be an AFSA member, feel free to screenshot or scan this QR code right now. Our primary means of communication is through Slack. So if you want to join us there, you could also scan this QR code. And that's it. Stay connected. All the registration links, signups are here in our link tree. Cool. I guess that is the end. So thank you, everyone. Before we forget, can we get a photo with all the participants? If you're comfortable.